This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. And folks, here we are on May the 27th, 2022, and I get to celebrate a movie that I absolutely love, and I have an interesting little backstory to it. But I'm talking about Ms. 45. I love this movie. And I have Rich Volk himself on the show. Yes, the photographer who will not be inviting anybody up to his loft anytime soon. In that movie, he was donning a very cool Howard Stern hairdo there. And he still has some of it. Yes, he still does. More than me. Folks, I give you the awesome Steven Singer. How do you do, Steven?
I'm good. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing great, and look what I am wearing.
Wow, look at that.
I had this done. I ordered this, and I got it, and I wear it at the cons and whatnot. I love that movie poster.
Yeah, yeah. I have that. I have that poster in my hallway, actually.
Yeah,
That exact picture. Yeah.
and I got that, the Blu-ray. And it came with a big poster I got rolled up over there in a big tube. So yeah, I love this movie. I'm going to tell you my story behind this movie because I knew nothing about it until I rented from Blockbusters, which is no longer with us, a documentary called Terror in the Isles. And that had a compilation of all kinds of horror films in it. And it was hosted by Donald Pleasance and Nancy Allen. And there was a section in it towards the latter half about sex and violence in horror films. And they had clips from, Dress to Kill, The Seduction, Clute, and Miss 45. Now, they showed some images of Miss 45 of her blowing away the gangsters. And I love that shot. She just walks right into that center circle there, and they're all surrounding her. That perfectly done. And she blows them all away. And it showed her in the rape scene and the repulsion scene where she opens up her robe and the hand grabs her. Catherine Deneuve had a similar scene in Repulsion. And I was like, what is this movie? And I was very much quite taken with Zoe Tamerla's Lund because she was absolutely gorgeous. And I was like, I need to find out what this movie is. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. And eventually I found out. And I ordered the film on VHS. And now I got it on DVD. I got it on Blu-ray. And I got a T-shirt. So that is my backstory with it. And unfortunately, in 1999, early in 19, well, I went after to try to get an autograph picture of Zoe, and I found out I was a couple weeks too late. She had unfortunately left us. But in terms of my show, I've had her widow, Robert Lund, on in tribute to her 5 times. And he shared a lot of interesting information about her and even sent me a little page, handwritten page out of her diary that she sent me a screenshot of. So that was pretty cool. I'm still in touch with Robert. So that was my little background on this film. But before we talk about Ms. 45, I would like a little bit of your background and what led you to getting into the arts.
I didn't. I had no idea I was going to be an actor. I was in high school or college, but when I got out of college, somebody told me to go into an acting class. Somebody gave me a job. One of my professors gave me a job in mental health. We all had draft deferments back there, and this was a draft deferment job. So I was working with pretty severely mentally ill people. But somebody said, go to an acting class. I went to an acting class, and within a couple of weeks, a guy put me in a play, and it was a big hit. And I got all this attention. And I thought, boy, this is interesting. All this attention that I never had in my life. This was in Philadelphia. So after a couple of years doing theater there, I applied to Yale and NYU for their graduate programs in theater. And I got into NYU, and it changed my life. So I went to New York and did 3 years at NYU, and then started the road to being an actor after that. Mhm.
Well, I noticed, and I didn't know this either, because I got Driller Killer here on Blu-ray, and I don't have it out here, but I didn't know you were in that until I was looking at the credits at the end of it. You looked quite a bit different in that film.
Well, that actually is there's a funny story behind that. That led to Miss 45, because my friend Louis Mascola, who was at NYU with me, became Abel's assistant director for that movie. And he said, "We're looking for homeless guys and bums, you know, blah, blah, blah." So I went home and I distressed all my clothing. I put makeup on to look like dirt, and I went on the street and started begging for money. And my friend Louis had Abel walk by, the director, and he saw me begging for money and gave me the role on the spot. So that was one of my early risks, and I got to meet Abel, and yeah, the Driller Killer was the first one I did with him. Yeah.
Did you make any money?
No.
No, nobody.
No, the movie has made a fortune in the last 40 years, but that was I made that movie before I got into the Screen Actors Guild, so I got $200 for the shoot, and that was it.
No, I meant, did you make any money being a homeless person begging for money?
Yeah, I got a couple of bucks. Yeah, I did. But fortunately, Abel and my friend Louis came by fairly quickly. So it was really a strange experience, I have to say. But those are the kind of risks you have to take when you're younger, you know, to kind of get a foot in. And I did have to audition for Ms. 45, though. And Abel did become a friend of mine for a few years, and we had a little falling out. And I only seen him a couple times since then, but interesting guy, and I love his work. I really love his work. Yeah.
Oh, I love Miss 45. I was so excited when I first got to see that, and I've seen a screening of it since too, which is nice, you know. I like here's one of the things. I was never pleased with Death Wish, because Death Wish, you know, he never seems to get back at the people that actually committed the rape and killing of his wife and daughter, you know. And I was never satisfied with Death Wish. Miss 45, I think, brings it full circle for me. No, he doesn't get Abel Ferreira, Jimmy Lane doesn't get Jimmy Lane. He does get Peter Yellen, though. He gets him good. Yeah. But nonetheless, number one, she's easier on the eyes. No offense to Charles Bronson, but nonetheless, one thing I found interesting is all the men she encounters in the film all seem to be really interesting, you know. And I think you were probably the most interesting of the bunch, you know. I loved your hair in the movie. You reminded me so much of Howard Stern. Did you ever think of that?
Well, not Howard Stern, but you know, it was 1980, so we still had the long hair, and you know, yeah, that's why I wore my hair. You know, I was in a Broadway play at the same time we shot that, and the hair worked for that too. So, you know.
Well, I loved your scene in the movie, you know, or your section of the movie, I should say. You know, you get to make out with the girl at the table. Good or bad experience on that?
Good. The only weird thing about it was that was Abel's actual girlfriend. But Abel didn't mind for the sake of the movie. No, not at all. Not at all. No, Abel had a very different lifestyle than I did. We traveled in different paths. I liked him a lot, and after we made the movie, I used to hang out with him, and every time I went over to his loft, he would be watching Raging Bull. He loved that movie.
Oh, that great movie, yeah.
Constantly watch Raging Bull. But interesting story about Zoe, that she didn't talk to anybody on the set. And, when I first got to the set, I said, what, she doesn't like me? I mean, what, and then I figured out that she's not talking because she plays a mute in the movie. So she followed through on that between shots too. So I never spoke to her, which kind of good.
Well, she seemed to have her eye on you doing your makeout session. And then I just love it when you come over there. And like I said, you're great in this movie. And I gotta say, Darlene's, is it Studo or Stato?
I don't know. I don't remember.
She has not very friendly things to say to you.
Well, let me tell you, I had no idea what she was going to do. Nobody knew what anybody was going to do, and she nailed me with that. And it was real. I mean, that was a real moment where I really felt like, man, I better get out of here. But I wanted to leave with a little dignity. But it surprised me how powerful she was, and what she come up with. It was great. It was really great. When that kind of thing happens.
I tried to find her on here too, but again, it's very difficult to nail people down. But a lot of
Yeah.
people like her very astute, very direct manner.
Yeah,
Um,
I liked her too. I liked her as a person too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. What was she like?
She was not, she was a tough kid. She
Yeah.
was, she was tough, but very sweet. She was very sweet. Yeah. I haven't seen any of those people since we did the screenings and everything. I did run into Abel on the street about 10 years ago. In 2011, I ran into him on the street, and we talked a little bit. He goes, I'm doing a movie. You want to part in it? Blah, blah, blah. It's a guy walking his, he's giving me the whole spiel. But he did say, the last thing he said was, we had a winner, Steve. We had a winner. He was referring to this 45. Of course, he made a fortune off it, I'm sure. But
yeah. Well, Darlene was a tough girl, because even when they're walking on the street, the guys are like saying their comments and whatnot. I mean, she's like flipping them off. Something tells me that she could handle herself well.
Oh, I'm sure of that. I mean, like I said, she surprised me with the great thing was that he would write lines before the camera would shoot, and it was very guerrilla movie making, because they stole the shots. In other words, they didn't have the city helping them out with cops and cordoning off the shooting area. They would hide the camera under vans, under canvas on the top of vans, and so you couldn't see the camera. So it was done very in the moment, on the spot, in New York City in 1980.
Oh yeah, there's a section of the movie where Zoe is walking the neighbor's dog out in the street, and you can tell that wasn't permitted. In fact, that it looks like even somebody looks like they're going to get out of their vehicle at her. You could see that when she's trying to kill the dog.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And New York was pretty gritty back then. It's a little different now, but I miss it. I really miss New York back in the 70s and 80s. It was so much more grittier, and but
yeah. Well, you of course made the mistake of following the wrong person, followed Zoe, and I think you were doing okay until you put your arm around her, and then that was a trigger.
well,
And
if I
then
remember too, I put I caressed her face with my finger.
oh,
I
that's
remember,
right.
and then it went down to my hand, the camera, and then the music's boom, 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 boom. Yeah, and she had that look in her eye. Yeah.
Yeah, and you bring her up into that loft area, and you're going to show her your studio, and
That's right.
well, yeah, you ended up on top of that big roll of paper, and
That was an incredible, experience, by the way. I mean, I had never done anything like that. And it had to be choreographed, and, people had to tell me what a 45 does to you. I mean, it backs you up. And so I knew all that. But then we shot it, and then he said, we're going to do it again. I didn't understand coverage back then. I didn't want to, because it was an emotional experience. They had an Israeli IDF explosive expert, putting the blood bags in me. And I
Okay.
didn't want to do it again because it was really emotional. I mean, it's like, but of course I did it again, and it's almost like a dance of death, the way they shot it.
Yep.
It's pretty impressive, I thought. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a great scene.
yeah.
What was Zoe like?
Well, like I said, she was quiet on the set.
Hmm.
She was aloof, and like I realized that she's doing this because she's playing a mute in the movie, and so I didn't talk to her. We would sit in the car. I mean, the makeup place was in a car. We would sit and she wouldn't talk. Very quiet. I wanted to. I would love to because she was extremely attractive,
Yeah.
uh, and interesting. And a good friend of Abel's. I know she did pass away. I think she had a drug overdose, I believe.
37 years old. She was
She's
10 years
37.
older than me. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She died too young. She died too
Yep.
young. She did make, she was in Bad Lieutenant later
Oh
on.
boy, did she make a gorgeous redhead. Oh boy.
That was pretty amazing. Yeah. Well,
Oh
that how
my.
the scene where they shot up the heroin with Harvey Keitel, that was so, I think they were, well, I think it was real heroin that was so realistic. It
It
was
was real
unbelievable.
heroin.
Yeah.
Not in Harvey's arm, but in
But in hers.
Zoe's. Yeah, because Robert Lund was telling me about that.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Robert got off of the stuff. He cleaned himself up.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Yep. And he cleaned himself up before Zoe had her overdose because they were still married, but they weren't together.
Mhm.
So he found out from a third party of her passing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because she was
Wow.
in, I think, Paris, France, or something like that, if I
Yeah, she
remember
lived there,
correctly.
I think. I think they
Yeah,
lived there.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I was sorry I didn't get to know her a little bit, but some actors work that way. They manifest whatever their character has. They'll do that on the set too, so they don't, you know,
yeah.
break it. But hmm.
I'm sad that she went. I'm glad Robert got out of it, and Robert's turned out to be a fine fellow, but he told some very interesting stories. Like I said, I had him on 5 times doing tributes to her, and I think the funniest story I heard was they went to a screening of the Terry Gilliam film Brazil on acid. And I'm like, that movie's hard to take when you're not on anything.
Makes you feel like you're on acid. I know.
Yeah. But
Well,
no,
that must have been quite an experience.
yeah. But Robert, like I said, I'm still in touch with him, and he lives in New York, and
Oh,
yeah, and he said she's gone, but he said the relationship was toxic, but he wasn't the one dealing the drugs. That's one thing I do know. But
yeah, it's really sad
yeah,
what happened to her. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
Abel lives in Rome now, and he has a younger wife and a young child.
hmm.
Because I saw him in one of the Anthony Bourdain shows. I don't know if you've watched any of the Anthony Bourdain shows. He was a cook who went all over the world and explored their cuisines. And so he was in Rome one time, and he had Abel eating a dinner with Abel Ferrara in a restaurant and his family. It was
Oh
pretty interesting
wow.
to see him. Yeah,
I've tried to reach out and get Abel on here, but again, another one, it's like pulling teeth.
yeah.
But yeah, but Rome, I've interviewed a lot of people on my show that were in Rome, including Audrey Hepburn's eldest son. Yeah, he
Wow.
was in Rome, and so was Daria Nicolodi, who passed away a few months after I interviewed her. She was in Deep Red and Suspiria, the Argento movies. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
hmm.
But Zoe was also in the Larry Cohen movies, special effects as well.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't know that she had done other movies. Yeah.
she's stock naked in that one. Yep.
She's heavily involved in the French cinema scene, I think. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get to know her.
That's unfortunate, though. But I'll tell you, she was interesting in Miss 45, and I loved her
Yeah.
get-ups. With you, she had the hat on,
The
and
beret, yeah,
the
she had the
beret.
beret and
Yeah,
the red sweater. I remember the red sweater.
the red sweater. Yeah, very much a class act. I love the location work in Miss 45 too. If I'm ever like, I don't have a passport, but if I ever go to New York, I would love to explore some of the locations, especially that was that Central Park where the gang situation
Yeah,
happened,
yeah, yeah,
because that
yeah,
was in the Warriors as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, a lot of
I
it's changed now. It's not as, I mean, New York, I mean, I'd like to watch that film again just to see New York in the 80s again, because, I grew up there then, and it's a little different now. It's a little different now. Um,
yeah. Is
yeah,
there,
go
huh?
ahead.
I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say, is there any locations there from the movie that you know where they are now besides the Central Park?
Yeah, the restaurant where I was making out with Abel's girlfriend and picked up Zoe. That was a franchise bar, something McGuire's. I don't. It's not there anymore. That was on the East Side in the 50s.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the Loft was, I believe, Abel's Loft where he lived. Uh,
Okay.
so, which was on 18th Street off of Union Square. Um, but yeah, it's just New York is different now. It wouldn't look the same probably.
No. No, that's one of the things I love about Miss 45 is just looking at the location work in it as
Yeah,
well. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. That's why I
Um,
like Taxi Driver as well. I mean, Taxi Driver, you see New York in the 70s too. I don't know. It's a place in my heart. It was my first decade in New York City, and it was pretty rough. It was pretty rough and rugged. And,
I love Taxi Driver. I had one of the producers of Taxi Driver on here last year, so
oh, oh.
yeah. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, the location work was great. Were you there for any? Probably not, but I thought I'd ask if were you there for any other elements of the filming of the movie? Like, did you meet any of the other cast members?
No, I don't believe so. It was
Hmm.
just Zoe and the other three girls. That was it. Yeah, yeah. That's the only. That's yeah. Of course, I met everybody at the screening and stuff like that. But yeah.
Well, Jack, was it his last name Tabo, who was the guy who shot himself on the bench? He's done quite a lot of work.
He
You know,
did some movies after that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Here's one
Jack
thing
Thibodeau,
Thibodeau. Okay, yeah.
Thibodeau, something
I
like
might have screwed that up. I might have screwed that up. But one of the things I noticed when she gets that gun and she kills the greaser, the guy that looks like he walked off a set of grease, and then she gets you. But that first night out, she gets the pimp, she gets the gang, she gets the Arab guy in the limousine with his
that. All right.
driver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you're bringing it all back to me now. Yeah.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
She shot
And
him in the groin. In the groin, I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But the second night, totally different. The Asian couple making out. She follows the Asian guy who really didn't do anything wrong, really. But he gets in his apartment, doesn't even know she's there. She misses him. And Jack, he just some guy sharing his problems at the bar,
It was in
and
the
then
bar. That's right. Yeah. All
and
right.
then goes to the park bench. I was wondering, like I always hated it when he said that when he talked about his ex-wife cheating on him, that he went home and he strangled her cat. I wish they didn't even have that in there.
I don't remember that, but I think that was something they created in the spot. I think they just sort of improvised that. I have a feeling, but don't
Well,
quote
here's
me.
the thing. It's a thing with that though. When he says I went home strangled a cat, like I was wondering, was she actually going to kill him up to that point? I would have liked to have seen where that would have went
Hmm, hmm.
without that, because it almost seemed that that moment when he says that, it's like, okay, you're trying too hard, too
Hmm,
hard. I wouldn't have minded seeing where that would have went. Would she have let him live?
no. Hmm,
Because
hmm.
she listens to his story for a long time. So I often wondered that. And by the way, the landlord lived to be 100 years old, according to Internet Movie Database.
Oh, I remember her with the high voice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think they wanted another actress to do that, and she couldn't do it, and they found her. The woman that was a Midnight Cowboy that was walking her dog, and
oh
John
yeah,
John Voight's first pickup, and she
yep,
ended up taking money off of him.
yeah. I've got Midnight Cowboy here. Yep.
Oh, it's my favorite. That influenced me to want to be an actor. That movie. I mean, Dustin Hoffman being able to transform like that was just holy. That's mind blowing. That's what acting should be. You play all these characters, and it really impressed me, and it kind of got me going. Yeah,
Going from The Graduate to Midnight
I
Cowboy,
I know, and
you know.
and he was the first, like one of the first, I guess, first non-traditional, really pretty boys to become a movie star. I mean, there were some earlier, I guess, John Garfield and people like that.
It's
But a
interesting.
lot of. Oh, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was going to say I interviewed the pregnant woman that and Dustin Hoffman is trying to do John Voight's laundry, and he
Oh,
helps the pregnant woman, but he ends up sticking his in as well. Well, the pregnant woman I
doing
had
the
on the
fake
show,
The Italian gibberish. A
yeah,
tutte tende, a tutte tende, but I remember that.
yeah,
Yeah. You
I had,
interviewed her? That must have been
I,
interesting.
yeah, I had her on, and she talked about how short Dustin Hoffman was.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You
yeah,
know, it's interesting, Greg, that a lot of people said that they didn't think I deserved to get shot. They didn't think it's just a guy, he's a nice guy, he's trying to pick her up, And a lot of people thought that was a little odd, but he was still a womanizer, I guess.
you know what? I don't think a lot of them deserve to be shot. The gang, I kind of get they were imposing a threat,
Yeah.
but I mean, like even the Arab guy, like just refuse the money, like you need to shoot him in the crotch. Or even the greaser. I mean, yeah, he's probably trying to pick her up, but I mean, he brought her bag, just you know,
Well, I mean, she was raped twice in the
yeah.
beginning.
Oh
Twice,
yeah,
not
very,
just
very
once,
quickly.
twice. And
Hmm.
so,
I get it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. But
yeah.
she took an awful long time distributing those body parts. So I probably, if it was me, I'd probably try to speed that process up.
You're bringing back all these memories. I haven't seen that movie in so long. I was glad to have done. I had a great time doing it. It was really fun. It was really a fun. It was really fun to do. He just loved working with Abel. It was just so free and loose. I mean, literally, Greg, he would be ready to shoot it. He would write down your lines right before he would say, "Action, here, say this." And you look at it, you go, "Okay, got it."
Hmm.
Was that spontaneous, and it had the look of a spontaneity and a reality to it that I really appreciate his directing that way. Always did. Mm.
Do you still get recognized for the movie?
No, as a matter of fact, I've only been recognized once, and it was in Times Square years
Hmm.
ago. And I was waiting for the light, and a black guy comes up to me and he says, "You're the guy that got shot, man. Are you the guy that got shot?" That was the only time. That was the only time I said, "Yeah, it was me." You know,
Wow, wow. You know, did you attend the premiere of the film?
probably. I probably, yeah, yeah. They had a couple screenings of it. I remember. I remember my father was in town, and I brought him to one of the screenings, which was kind of because of all the strange people there. He was a little uncomfortable. Like, this is the world you reside in, son. This is,
Did he
but
like the movie?
he didn't say a word about it. I don't know what he thought of the movie. I don't know. I think he was just a little weirded out by. I mean, Abel traveled around in an interesting circle of people, and um, And I could see how my father would be a little bit shocked and uncomfortable. But he was there. He went with me, so that was cool.
Okay. What do you think all these years later, the fact like this was not what you call a major release, you know? I mean, it came out the year that Raiders of the Lost Ark dominated the box office and whatnot. But yet this film, you know, it's got a nice Blu-ray release here, some extras on it, and all kinds of goodies. This film has really gotten a nice cult following.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a cult film. Yeah.
In fact, my first tribute on Zoe with Robert Lund at one point was my most listened to interview. It's now number 2, but very popular, you
Yeah,
know.
it became like it really, it's a very, it's still popular. It's a cult movie, like you said. It's extremely popular. Yeah.
Well, according
Um,
to Internet Movie Database, and you could fill me in here, but after Miss 45, it doesn't say you did a film until 1994 with Don Juan DeMarco. What was going on in between there?
I did a lot of theater. I
Oh, a
was
lot
doing
of
a lot of
theater.
theater. Yeah. Yeah, Don Juan DeMarco. I guess that was my next film afterwards. That's, yeah, that was where I actually got to work with Marlon Brando and Johnny Depp, which was a surprise and a thrill and something I cherish, you know, ever since. Um,
How
to be able
crazy
to
was
work with
Brando?
Marlon. He was crazy. He was crazy, but he was funny, and he
Yeah.
really tried to make me comfortable, and he made me laugh the whole time. There was one little moment, it got a little hairy. There was a moment where we were both supposed to, where the director of this mental health institution, Johnny Depp thinks he's Don Juan DeMarco. So he's
Hmm.
now in a mental hospital, and me and Marlon Brando, he's such an interesting guy to want to work with. So the director goes, okay, who wants to work with him? Bob, Bill, who wants to work with him or whatever. So I grabbed the file that was in the middle of the table and I took it like, I'm going to work with him. I took his file. So after the take, Brando goes to me. He has a pen in his hand and he said, you grab that file again. I'm going to put this pen right through your hand. So the next time it was like, who wants to work with him? And we both gently put our hands on the file. And I didn't grab it this time. And the scene had so much more drama to it because you don't know who's going to end up with it. That was his way of telling me that the scene should be played this way. But I didn't know whether to believe him or not. You know, it was just, I thought, you know, he could do that. He could probably put that pen right through my hand. I felt that he could do that. But it made the scene so much better. I mean, you know, I mean, he could have said, hey, why don't we just, you know, don't grab it so fast, because, you know, it doesn't complete the scene properly, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Between acting on stage and acting in film, which do you prefer?
Ooh, boy, you know, I haven't done theater. I mean, I really like smaller acting. I really like it. I don't like the big acting. It feels fake to me on like on stage and all that. And, you know, so I prefer the smaller acting. I really do because of all the, you know, it's so much more real. You know, I just, you know, stage acting, the way it's representation of life. But film acting, you actually have to behave in your real way, you know. I always preferred that, but I do miss the theater, and I do miss it. Um, you know, there's just something about having the audience there that, you know, in movies you shoot and, you know, the crews, they're not even watching, they're doing their jobs and you don't get that immediate feedback. And then of course, you know, you shoot some scenes and then you have no idea how it's going to end up. You know, you have no control once you shoot your scenes, and on stage it's like the curtain goes up and it's yours, you know. But I do miss the theater, but I prefer the smaller work, the more behaviorally oriented work. Totally. You know, I teach it. I mean, I teach film acting at the Barra Group Theater in school in New York, and I don't know, I just prefer it. I just you know.
There's a few other of your films I'm seeing on on your internet movie database I'd like to ask you about. And I saw many of these in the theater, but A Perfect Murder, which of course is uh, Dial M for Murder
Yeah.
uh, recreation. Talk about working on that. I mean, you got Michael Douglas, you had Gwyneth Paltrow.
Well, I only shot one night, and it was a night shoot, and it was at the Metropolitan Museum of Art,
Hmm.
and it was a big extravaganza. It was like a big orchestra, and there were hundreds of extras, and it, it was it was an interesting experience, I have to say. By the time they finally got to my shot, I mean, they were moving around the room, but it was a very small part. It was a really small part. The director wanted me because he thought I looked like Sid Caesar. I don't know if you know about Sid Caesar.
I
The
know
audience
Zeus
knows.
and Caesar. Yeah.
I mean, right. So he said, I want that in my film. That's why I got it. It was a small part, but a great experience. They shot it at the art museum in the Temple of Dendor, the Egyptian exhibition. And a friend of mine was shooting as well, so we spent the whole night hanging out. It was kind of fun. And Viggo Mortensen, who I had the scene with, was just such a gentleman. I
Hmm.
mean, a pure gentleman. I was very impressed with him.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, this film really bombed, was Town and Country. But I mean, you have Warren Beatty, you had Goldie Hawn, love Goldie Hawn, and you're listed as a party guest in that.
It was a little bigger part than Party Guest, but they didn't give my character a name.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it was a scene with Diane Keaton and a bunch of Japanese actors who I was chaperoning to this house out in the country, and it was fun. It was really fun. Warren Beatty had to fall out of a window. So they had a stunt man fall out the window, but Warren Beatty would get up and dust himself off, and it was a timing scene. It was a really intricately timed scene, and it was fun. Diane Keaton was great. I had a good time with her. It was fun.
Yeah. And of course, you're listed for playing Dr. Kaplan and It Runs in the Family. Now, I saw this. This was interesting because you got to see Michael Douglas and Kirk Douglas in the same movie, which was a treat. Talk about this.
Well, again, working with Kirk Douglas was like unbelievable.
Yeah, I
Except
bet.
you have Spartacus, in your mind, and then you see him there as after his stroke, and he was like working with him like that, which was a little bit strange. It took some getting used to. And when I got there, he was changing the whole scene around with the director. He was rewriting the scene in his trailer, and he made it better. He made it a
Hmm.
better scene. Uh, and he was just curious about, it's really interesting to how you do, he plays leads in movies. How these, you as an actor, you come in a supporting role and you one day and you have to have it all there. But he was very interested in that. And of course I said, well, I play bigger parts too, but there's just an instant respect that you have when you're in the presence of somebody like him. I mean, I was really in awe of him. But the scene turned out pretty well, I thought.
And he lived to be 103 years old. Wow.
He was 86 when we did the movie. It was right after his stroke. Oh, yeah.
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 I just remember it was a treat seeing father and son working together there in that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
like Michael Douglas. I mean, I had never met him, but I like his body of work. And
You did two movies he was in, you haven't met him, which that's funny.
what was the other one, the Michael Douglas?
Um, Perfect Murder.
Oh, The Perfect Murder. That's right. Yeah. The Perfect Murder. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I did not see this one, The Prince and Me, but you have Julia Stiles in that.
Yeah. I had to travel to Prague to do that. And I had 3 scenes scheduled. They shot one. And right after I finished that scene, the crew went on strike because they were being taken advantage of and overworked. And this is in Prague, so I couldn't shoot my last 2 scenes, and I had to go home. I remember that.
Hmm.
But Stiles was lovely. She was really lovely.
Yeah, I
Was
like her.
very intelligent and very sweet.
Now, I don't remember you in this one. M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening. That
Yeah,
film's got a lot of really hilarious memes now to it.
yeah. For some reason, Shyamalan got he gets battered by the critics a lot, but a lot of people. My wife loves that movie. No, I played a doctor who an environmentalist who was being interviewed on CNN.
Hmm.
And you know, he's warning, he's like a sentinel, he's warning people about, you know, climate change basically.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had to shoot that. I had to come down twice. They reworked the scene, and I had to go back down to Philly again to shoot it the second time. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw
I
that in
liked
the,
him. I liked him though, and
yeah.
yeah, really cool guy. Yeah,
He
really
got
cool.
himself back in track with Split though. That was pretty intense,
Yeah, I
you
think he
know.
has a TV series now, doesn't he? That he on one of the cable channels. I don't remember
I
what it
don't
is.
know. But he does have an interesting body of work, I'll say that.
Yeah, yeah,
As
I
long as
agree.
you can forget that he did The Last Airbender. He did. But yeah, there's some season mark.
We all have our black marks, I guess. Yeah.
He's got many good marks. So I mean, you look at The
Yeah.
Sixth Sense, Unbreakable,
Oh
Signs.
yeah.
I even like The Village.
Oh, the village, right? Yeah.
I did. I liked The Village, and The Visit was really good. Split made a big impression on me. Enjoyed that. So I'd say he's had his fair amount of great stuff as well. So yeah. Now looking on here too to see if there was any other ones I wanted to ask you about. So what is happening with you now? I noticed you were in the Bite the uh mini series in 2021.
That was during COVID, and we shot that in my right in this little office here.
Mm-hmm.
And sent all the equipment up here. We had to lug it up. I mean, it was a huge, my wife had to carry a lot because I had just had a hip operation, and
Uh,
we shot it right here, right in the room here. But it was very small. It wasn't. I didn't even. You know, I'm something I don't think about. You know,
since
I
since your
think
wife had to carry it up, now you have to do all the chores now, right?
I do my share. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do my share. Yeah, yeah. The most recent movie I did a couple of years ago. Well, there was one after that too, but was I got to shoot with Tiffany Haddish
Okay, yep,
and
yep.
Melissa McCarthy. I had a scene
Oh,
with them where I
yes.
played a Hasidim with the beard, a jeweler with a beard, and the whole thing, and it was really a lovely little scene. It's called The Kitchen, I think. Yeah.
The kitchen, we didn't get that.
It's not on there. Oh, do you have my website?
Yeah, yeah, I got
Yeah,
it up on here. Yeah, but we didn't get that movie here.
oh, you didn't get that there.
Yeah.
I thought it was on Prime for a while, and I think it might be on Prime or one of those Amazon Prime, something like that.
Elizabeth Moss was in that too.
Yeah, Elizabeth Moss was in it, and Bill Camp was in it, and my friend Wayne Duvall was in it, and uh, other people. Yeah, it was a movie that didn't really know what it wanted to be, and I love the director. She won an Academy Award for the movie about something Compton. What's it called? Something Compton.
Um,
I forget the name of it. But she was great. But they battered her pretty
straight out
well.
of Compton.
Straight out of Compton. Yeah, she was one of the writers for that, and
Okay.
she wrote this and directed it. And the directors were really vicious. They were really vicious. It was like I never read such vicious reviews in my life. I mean, they just slaughtered her, and it didn't really have to be that way. I mean, I agreed with some of what they were saying about the film, not knowing what it wanted to be completely, but I couldn't believe how vicious they were with her. You know, first time female director.
Well, I just got my TV here set up where I watch my Blu-ray, so I don't actually watch television. So I don't catch a lot of that, but I love the cast, and I probably would have went to see that in the theater.
Surprising that it didn't get up there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been out this way to New Brunswick? 'Cause, I'm an hour
Where
ahead
is,
of you.
where are you in central Canada? I've been to Montreal,
I'm in
quite a few
Atlantic
times.
Canada.
Okay. Are you near Nova Scotia? Is that in,
Nova
or,
Scotia's next door. I'm in
oh,
Fredericton, New Brunswick. And very few people know where New Brunswick is. I often joke that when they build the Ultimate Warrior from Parts Unknown when he was introduced in wrestling, I was like, oh, he must be from New Brunswick. It's Parts Unknown.
how big a city is it?
Not very big. Um, not as fun for me as Toronto. I love Toronto,
Yeah.
but I did my first con in Toronto
Oh,
convention. Um, but no, I've lived here my whole life. I'm gonna be 50 in July, so lived here my whole life, and yeah, but yeah, nobody knows where New Brunswick is. So very
I've
few.
definitely heard of it.
Yeah,
And I knew it was like near Nova Scotia. It's right,
my
yeah.
sister-in-law's from Nova Scotia, so I think it's like a 4-hour drive away. I've never been there either, but
Do you have a big following? Do you have does your blog have a nice following?
it's growing. It's
Oh,
growing. You're my 612th guest I've had on here
wow.
since
Wow.
2015,
Wow.
and I've gotten to the point now. Like in 2017, I had a Canadian actress invite me to Toronto to a horror film convention, and that was an experience. And I was able to, she told me, gave me advice about making business cards and stuff like that, and um, so I got my stuff on YouTube, and I don't release them right away because my former station manager, like I'm affiliated with CHSR on campus here. I used to do these by phone down there until lockdown happened.
Uh,
And I
yeah.
had about 30 people waiting to get on my show. And I was like, what do I do? And one of my guests out of California had suggested Zoom. And one of my guests from the UK helped me get set up on it. So I've been doing them on Zoom since 2021, and it's really nice because at the station I had to make sure other programmers weren't using the studio.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas with this, I could just do it right here. The only thing I have to worry about is the hospital calling me and like last week when I was
Oh,
supposed
is
to
it
have you
always like
on.
that for you? You're always on call? You just never know when they're going to call you to come in and,
What happened is I've worked 19 years in my parents' spring water business, and when my folks got terminally ill, they sold the business. Actually, my father owned it, so he sold the business. But and I went into cleaning because before I got my first cleaning job, I was invited to Toronto for that convention, and I had such a great experience with that. I wanted to do it again, and I could have been on unemployment for a year, but I really just wanted to get back to working. And because I saw with Toronto, I was like, I see a future. So I took some cleaning jobs, and what I noticed is that cleaners aren't treated very well, very respectfully, especially since we were on the front lines during the whole COVID situation.
I was
So
going to say, yeah.
I
Yeah.
worked through the whole thing, and it got to the point like I was making something like 13.50 an hour at my last cleaning job, and I was going into my savings to help pay my bills, which is no way to live.
Yeah.
I had somebody at one of the buildings I was cleaning at who was making small talk with me because he knew about my podcast and would ask me questions and this and that, and he suggested I get a job at the hospital because he said you make good money there.
Mm.
and I applied and I got in, and yeah, the money's really nice.
Well, that's
And
good.
yeah, um,
And you escaped COVID? You didn't
nope,
get it?
never got it, never got it.
Yeah.
Um,
Me either, knock on wood.
Knock on wood, yeah. But I know I'd clean a lot of terminal rooms at the hospital. We have to gown up and mask up and all that stuff. But the reason I'm on call right now is I just started that job on March 21st. So I'm what they call a casual. So I get called when full and part timers are not at work. I got called for a couple of shifts this week, which was nice. And I'm getting very, very good at the job. And the only problem is properly scheduling my interviews, because I wish I had do right when stuff. I had to, like with you last week, I had to call because I get my head shaved about once a month, and I had to call and reschedule that because I was supposed to have it at 10 tomorrow morning, but instead, I got to work from 8 to 4. So luckily, though, I could do it after work.
Do they call you in the middle of the night sometimes? I mean, are
No,
there,
no,
no. So you don't
no.
have to worry about that. Yeah.
Normally, it's either around 7 or sometimes in the afternoon around 11. So I don't think they're going to call me today. What I'd like to do, I'd like to get on because if I can get moved up to part-time permanent, then I'll have a set schedule.
Uh,
And I'd like to see if I can get on the back shift, the overnight shift, because I love working the overnight shift because I can plan stuff like this during the day. A lot of people don't like working overnights. I don't mind it.
that's good.
Yeah, I don't mind it. A lot of people won't do it. So,
When
but
I drove a cab years ago, and I drove the night shift.
yeah, I hope it wasn't dangerous for you.
Oh, it was. Of course, it was. It was dangerous,
Oh,
but you learn the hard way. You learn the hard way. But I
any,
like driving at night because you can make more money. The
mm-hmm.
streets were less crowded, and you can make more money. And it was interesting coming home at 5 in the morning, and then waking up at 2, and then having to go in again, and
You want me
wore
to
me
tell you
out. The
another
toughest
story
job I
too?
ever had. Yeah, go ahead.
Another story too. There's something relaxing and peaceful about getting off work at 5 or 6 in the morning or 7 in the
I
morning,
hear you. I hear
especially
you.
on a cold winter day while everybody else is rushing to get their coffee to wake up. I get in out of the flurries, in out of the cold. I come in here, take a nice hot shower, climb into bed with my cat, and I'm just at peace. I hear the
That's nice.
snow
Yeah.
blowing outside, but I'm like at peace. I don't mind that. I mean, you
Yeah, I
know,
didn't mind it too much either. I didn't. It just wears you down. Eventually that kind of a schedule. But
yeah. But
I
they
was.
but they got me working. I either do 8 to 4 or last night it was 4 to 12. And I didn't get called this morning, so I was able to get on here and schedule this. And I was like,
Well, I'm
oh,
glad. I'm
great,
glad. I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad it worked out.
I'm glad it worked out. I had somebody, I almost lost a guest because I ended up rescheduling her 4 times. And what saved me is she listened to one of my other podcast interviews with one of her friends.
You hold on 1 second. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, I'll just pause this.
Just 1 second.
Yep. There we go. I love the fact I could just unpause this. I had a guest on here the other night whose mother was really sick, and he said if I have to get up and tend to her. And I said that's no problem. I could just pause it. But I guess he was in his mom's room whenever he was doing the interview, and I said to him, I said, I hope your mom's okay. And he said, oh yeah, say hi, mom. It was pretty cool. I just wondering though, do you have any stories about driving the cab? What was your most? You said you had some dangerous times. You got any of those in mind you want to talk about?
Well, there were a lot of strange things that happened. Thank God I was only robbed once, but that's because I left my car with my cigar box with my money in it. And I came back and the glass was broken. And you could see the glass on the ground and you followed the glass. And then you could see they took my cigar box with all my money. But yeah, there were so many incidents. I mean, like a drunk driver, somebody I picked up that was drunk out of their mind and wanted to go to Brooklyn. And he didn't know where to go, where it was going. And I went into Brooklyn over one of the bridges. I said, okay, I'm in Brooklyn. Where do you want to go? He kept going straight as an arrow. Just keep going straight as an arrow. And what was I supposed to do? I ended up stopping the cab and somehow I got the money off him and I pulled him out of the cab and left him in the middle of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I often thought that maybe I should have gotten a police officer and not leave. I don't to this day, I don't know what happened to that guy. I don't know, but I got my money. But he didn't know where. That was one thing. But people would jump out of your cab. They would, they would get to the destination and say, "I'll be right back," and then they'd run off. And then I had a few famous people in my cab and. With Diane Keaton was in my cab once. And I did say, the last thing I said to her when I dropped her off was, well, I hope we work together someday. And she went, yeah. And I ended up working with her someday.
She didn't jump out of your car?
No, she didn't. She paid. I think she was, you could see her in the rearview mirror. She was rooming. I think she was going out with Warren Beatty at the time. And you could see her like thinking about things. And I had Dennis Hopper in my cab and he had a girl that was maybe 30 years younger than him. And he was instructing her how to behave with the producers at this party they were going to.
They should have instructed him how to behave.
Yeah, he was quite a guy. He passed away from prostate cancer, I believe. Just a lot of hairy moments, So, one time I remember I cut in front of a guy on like 36th Street and just cut and, it was a narrow street and I went in front of him. He was a UPS driver and he came out of the cab and he called me, "Yeah, you wanted to fight me?" And I remember I had a fare in the car and I was just saying, I got a fare in the car. I mean, he's ready to kill me, this guy, just because I went in front of him. Road rage. I remember that. But that was back in the days too, when we'd all, we were like fighter pilots, when we got the car in the garage. Well, that's another story. The dispatcher that gave you the cab, if you didn't tip him, you would get a cab that was falling apart. But if you slipped a little tip to him when you got there, you would get a better cab. He ended up in jail, by the way. Remember that. But literally, if you didn't give him a little $2 tip or whatever it was back then, you would get a cab that the shocks were gone, or there were holes in the floor with fumes coming up. It's before they were highly regulated. They're much more regulated now. But they were death traps. I mean, one time I was driving my cab and if I turned this way, the car would go the opposite direction. And I was on the FDR highway and the highway is like, the FDR is like this. And I did all I could. I was trying to relax the fare, saying, "I'll get you home." And then one time I was driving in a huge storm. I remember a deluge and my windshield wipers flew off. They just flew off the cab. And I took it back to the garage and the guy said, "There ain't nothing wrong with this car." Anyway, that was my night there.
Now, was this pre-taxi driver? Because I was wondering if that was your influence to get this job.
It was after. I drove in 78, 79 and taxi driver was a little earlier. I
76, yeah.
76, yeah. But he drove that handsome cab, the one that you could put 6 people in the back,
Yeah.
A lot more money driving those cabs. They're not on the road anymore, but yeah, you could put 6 people in the back. They had little seats that came down that was on the back of the driver's seat. They had little stools that would come down, and so you could sit 2 people there and then 3 people on the seat. Make more money.
Wow. So taxi driver was your inspiration to getting that job?
Driving a taxi, what happened to me driving a taxi, I quit driving a taxi and I went to my, I was going to leave the city because I was just doing little off Broadway plays in basements. I wasn't really getting anywhere. I didn't have an agent. And I was going to go away for a few months with a girlfriend of mine and I sublet my place, but I went to my old acting teacher from New York University And I wanted to borrow money from him. He said, I'm not going to give you any money. You know, I have some students, women that sell their bodies to become actors. You know, I'm not going to give you money, but I'll give you this. So he gave me a card, and it was his son who was an agent at a major agency, a theatrical agency. And he said, take here, call him. He'll work with you. And I went, what? And I called him, and the first job I got was a lead on Broadway. So I
Ah,
never left the
excellent.
city. So that was, you know, that was the weirdest thing. I mean, you know, I was really ready. I don't know if I would have come back, Greg. I don't know if I would have come back to the city after I left. I don't know.
Oh,
But,
wow.
you know, there's just something about letting go of things, and then stuff happens once you let go. And it was pretty amazing, lucky experience for me.
Well, Miss 45 last year celebrated its 40th anniversary. I don't know if you get to do the conventions. Do you ever get to do things like that, the autograph conventions?
I don't know if that, do they have them for Miss 45? I don't know. I don't know if they do.
You know what? I would have thought that had Zoe still been alive, I would have thought that she would have been a hit at those, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun. It would be really, it would be fun, Greg, to go to those. Yeah,
Though
I have a
they are
friend who
fun.
did, I have a friend who did Friday the 13th Part Two, and he goes every year to some of those things.
Who?
Bill Randolph, he's a blonde haired guy,
I know who he is. He was shish
with a
kebabbed
cat.
in the bed.
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly. That's exactly right.
it's funny you say that.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
was in Dress to Kill
He was in Dress to Kill. That's right.
as a
Yeah.
cab driver. I had Nancy Allen on my show last year. She was one of those 30 that was supposed to come on before lockdown, and I was so frantic and worried because but I got Nancy Allen on last year. I was so
Wow.
happy to have her on because I love Dress to Kill.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
but
did too.
yeah, Bill Randolph's somebody I haven't had on yet. I got to get him on. Um, because this will come out the same year as Miss 45, you know,
I'm
and
sure he would do it. I'm sure he would do it. I haven't seen him over a year. We did a Broadway play together, Bill and I, with
yeah,
Wayne Knight, who was Newman in
he was in
and,
Jurassic Park.
and Seinfeld in Jurassic Park, and we were
Yeah,
really tight because we did a play together for over a year and a half. The same play we worked on Broadway, and so I knew Billy, but I haven't seen him in a while. Since the lockdown and stuff, we kind of lost touch with each other. But I'm
yeah.
sure he would do it. I'm sure he would do it.
I got him on my friends list on Facebook, but I we've never been back and forth because I think he probably gets so many messages and whatnot. But he's somebody I got to get on because I've interviewed I think 4 people from Friday the 13th Part
Uh,
Two,
yeah,
and
he would probably do it. He does. He's not an actor anymore, but he would do it.
he does the
Yeah.
cons. I have seen pictures of him doing the
Yes, he
cons.
does.
So
He does. He
yeah.
goes to these things every year. He goes to them. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I got to get him on because I actually really like that kill scene. You know, the shish kebab scene, as I like to call it. But
Well, he'll talk to you about it. It's really interesting, having that girl lay on him for like hours, and in that position. Uh,
actually, he was on top of her.
was he on top of her?
He
Yeah,
was on
yeah.
top of her. Yeah. Okay, he
And
got it
the
through. He
spear
got
went right through the both of them, right?
yeah. It
Yeah,
went through his back and through her and in the
yeah.
floor. That was inspired by Twitch of the Deaf Nerve, Bay of Blood, the Mario Bava film, because they had a scene just like that. But yeah, I love this movie. I'm so glad I was able to get in touch with you and have you on here today. Um,
Well, thank you, Greg. I enjoyed it too. I enjoyed reliving those days. They were good days. They were good days.
well,
Yeah.
one thing I got to ask, do you have any charities that you want to promote and plug on here that you're involved with?
I really don't. I really don't. I contribute to political people that I feel I would like to have in office. I do a
We
lot of
need some
that.
good people in office, you
Yeah,
know.
we
I
really
wish they'd
do.
do something about the automatic assault weapons that are just given out like freebies in a cereal box. I know that.
It's just hard to talk about that. that greed and money, gain priority over the lives of children. I mean, I can't even, they can't talk about it. It's like, and they justify, this, you're going to take our gun rights away. Oh,
Nobody's taking anybody's gun
exactly.
rights,
I know.
You don't
Exactly.
need an automatic assault weapon, you don't need it,
Mm.
you know?
They're
But
weapons of war. They're weapons of war,
yeah,
you know. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
you're
it,
not
it
going hunting with that unless you're taking out the whole rainforest. I don't know. But
yeah.
speaking of guns, where did she get all the bullets that were in this gun? Because she seemed to have an unlimited amount.
Well, a 45 has so many shots in it, right? I mean, I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know. I don't.
Yeah. I think she fired. I think she shot me with 6 bullets. I think I got 5 or 6. I remember. I think that was I said it before. I know, but that was an experience, boy. That night,
Yeah.
I'll never forget. Yeah, yeah,
I would have had a scene where she somehow went and got bullets or something, you know,
yeah,
you could
yeah.
either have it
Well,
be like the Dick Miller scene from Terminator where she guns the person down, or maybe the person selling her the bullets is a female. But yeah, I never understood that because she goes through a lot of bullets in this movie.
you
And
remember the old westerns, right? They would just shoot endlessly without having to reload. Bing, bing, they would shoot like 100 shots, and they never reloaded back then either. But I think if I'm not sure how much. If I'm sure somebody in your audience would probably know how many bullets are in a from 40 to
I don't
45.
know.
Yeah.
I don't own a gun.
I'll
I
do
just,
some research.
I just never had that desire. But
Well, all they told me was so that would know what to do, that they started to use 45s in World War II because when the Japanese charged, if you shot them and they didn't go backwards, they could still kill you with a bayonet. So they had to have a weapon that had some power to knock you back.
mhm.
So that's what I knew. So every time I felt the little thing, I would go back, you know.
Okay.
I was really
Now,
proud of that scene, actually, the way it
oh,
came
you
out.
were great. You were
Yeah.
great. I think you stole your scenes in Miss 45, you
Yeah, my
know.
son saw it for the first time about a month ago. And
Did
he
he
goes,
like
Dad,
it?
he said, you look like a movie star.
Oh yeah.
He said,
Yeah. You stole the movie. Um, Another thing too, I ask all my guests, usually it has to do with the conventions, but if you haven't done the conventions, it still applies. What's the most unique thing you've ever been asked to sign?
to sign?
Hmm.
What do you mean? Like a contract or
No, like autograph.
hmm. I you mean like, a girl came up to me and said, could you sign my thigh or something like that?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've had anything like that. When I was in Broadway plays, I did a lot of autographs. When you leave the stage door,
Hmm.
you sign a lot. But I can't. That's an interesting question because I'm not a celebrity, so I didn't get those kinds of requests. If I thought long enough about it, there might be something that I could remember. I do get requests every once in a while by the mail for somebody who wants an autograph. But no, nothing like that I can think of that stands out to me. No, sorry.
Could I order an autograph pic from you through
Of
PayPal or
course,
something?
of
I'd
course.
love to. You have any Miss 45 ones?
You don't have to pay. I'll give it to you.
Oh, are you kidding me? I
Let
don't
me, let me,
mind.
can I show you the picture I have? I'll put it,
Sure.
can I share this? Can I share the screen with you, even though
Yeah.
you're the host? Let me
Uh
try that. Let me show you what I have.
huh.
Let me give you a copy of it. Hold on 1 second. I'm just going to pull up my iPhotos here. It's a really good picture, and I forget where, I think I got it in one of the newspapers with me and Zoe,
Oh, nice.
and I could send you an autographed copy of it. Let me just pull it up. You have a second? Sorry.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. We're
That's
good.
right. We're on Zoom. We have no schedule. We're on Zoom.
Yeah. We're on
Right.
Zoom. Yeah.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me see where it would be.
Yeah. I don't
By the
mind.
way,
I don't mind paying for it. I don't mind. You
oh,
know.
no, 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 that's, no,
Well, that's very gracious of you.
absolutely, no, no.
Yeah.
All right, I'm zeroing in on it. While I'm looking, where did you get the name Python?
You know what? I'm I'm a big lover of African wildlife. Never been to
Ah,
Africa, but I watch a lot of African wildlife videos on YouTube, and I've always loved snakes. And snakes are so misunderstood, you know?
yeah, they really are, but I'm not happy with them.
Well, they kill more rodents and pests than birds of prey and cats. I didn't know that, but they do.
I
And
believe that. Yeah, I believe that.
yep.
Yeah.
And so I thought Python would be just an interesting DJ name, you know? And I added the hyena part because the spotted hyena is also a misunderstood animal. They clean up a lot of the waste and the dead corpses and whatnot. That you know, they say a spotted hyena would be right at home in a sewer because they clean up everything we throw away. You know, it's
Yeah, they all have their part in the, in the chain. I
yeah,
know. But snakes have always been weird to me. I mean, I'm fascinated by them,
yeah.
but I never like to be in their presence.
I only have a kitty. He's over there asleep.
Well, me too.
Yeah. You
Oh,
have a
she's still
kitty?
sleeping? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I share the screen, will you let me see if host disabled? Oh, it says host disabled participant screen sharing. So
Okay. How do I do that?
um, let's see.
Okay. You got
Um,
one participant can share at a time, or multiple participants can share simultaneously. You want
yeah,
me
I
to?
think that's the one. Yeah, try
Okay.
that.
I'll push that. Okay. Now
Okay,
try it.
let me see now. Ah, there we go. So this is from a newspaper. So the resolution is newspaperish from many years ago.
Oh, oh yeah.
Can you see it?
That's where you're touching her face. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy, she's
So
gorgeous.
I know. Do you want me to send you a copy of this
Yeah,
with an autograph?
please.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
we'll do that. We'll do that.
Look at
I
you,
wish
got
I
the
had
whole
a
Howard Stern thing going. You got to admit, you look like Howard Stern there.
back then a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Actually, my hair was longer than that. I cut it for the play I was doing, believe it or not.
It was longer in Driller Killer, I noticed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Driller Killer was a direct steal of Dustin Hoffman. I was doing the whole Ratso Rizzo thing
Oh,
there.
was you? Okay.
I was coughing and the whole,
Okay.
Larry, whatever.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
How
that was
cool is
weird. That was
that?
weird because he had the drill, right? He was trying to kill us. So he killed my friend with a drill, and then he chases me up Union Square. I remember, and his cameraman kept telling me that I was outrunning the camera, and that if I did it again, he was going to stick his Dobermans on me. He had two Dobermans that he brought with him to work. Um, so Greg, this picture is good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'll make a copy of it, and actually I should probably send it to you on email. I'll sign it and then I'll scan it and send it to you on email. Okay,
Okay.
that'd be good. That way
Yeah.
I don't have to get your address or anything.
Sure.
And yeah, on the house, I don't, it's fine. I mean,
Okay.
it was great talking to him because it was a really nice time in my life. I'm working on Broadway, I'm doing movies. It was really a fun time.
Well, you know what? This has been so awesome having you on here. I was so thrilled when I found you, as like I said, I did 5 tributes to Zoe with Robert Lund, which are up on my YouTube. When this goes up, it's going to be unlisted for a while because I release publicly so many every month. Like I said, my former station manager said, when you do the interviews, don't put them up right away. Save some for a rainy day.
Mm,
Well, COVID was the rainy day
mm.
because I had no way of doing my show, and I was lucky enough to have about 150 plus interviews in my backlog.
Wow.
So I was able to. What I do when they're unlisted, I send them to you, and you can put them up on your web page or social media, and people can still see them. And
Oh,
that way I can take my time when I go to release it, because I'm still putting my 2021s public right now. And but like I said, everybody's gotten their links sent to them, so they're able to put them up. And
well, good.
so
Well,
yeah.
well, thank you, Greg. I really enjoyed this. Like I said, it was a great time in my life, and it's nice to relive it a little bit with you.
And
Um,
speaking of which, you got a web page. Plug your web page on here so that people can check it out.
oh, okay,
Hmm.
okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah.
What's your web page?
Oh, I think it's Stephen-singer.com.
Yeah.
All lowercase.
Hmm.
Stephen-singer.com. Yeah.
That's for anybody that wants to check out your work and your acting reel. I did check that out too, you know.
Yeah, that's on there too. I'm not sure
Hmm.
how up to date it is, but yeah, my acting reels on there. Not all of my work is on there though. I think if you go to the PDF, you could see all of it. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my website where you found me. Fortunately, I had that website out there. You know.
Well, I was glad to find you, and I gotta get in touch with Bill Randolph
Yeah,
too.
get in touch. I'm sure he would love to do it. I'm
Do
sure he
you
would love
ever
to do it.
you ever commandeer his vehicle and drive off with it, like happened to him at the beginning of Friday the 13th Part 2?
Do I ever commandeer it?
Yeah. Remember
In
when
what
the
way?
tow truck guy hitched up his vehicle and drove off?
Oh
And
yeah,
he's
right.
running after it.
That's right. Yeah,
It turns out to be his friend.
that's
Welcome to
right.
God's country.
That's right. The movies came out about the same time because I remember we both went to each other's screenings.
Yep.
Of the
They both
movie.
came out. Miss 45 came out in mid to late April, I believe.
Hmm.
And Friday the 13th Part 2, I think, came out right on April 30th or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they were great because we would finish our play at Gemini and then we go off and see the movie at the movies. And yeah, they were good days, Greg. And
yeah.
really totally appreciate you bringing me back there.
You know
Enjoyed it.
what? I'm so honored to have been able to do this today. Like I said, I was so excited that I found you and was able to reminisce about this and show this little gem off. You got a Miss 45 t-shirt?
No, I have that poster in my hallway though.
Yeah. Oh, nice. I love that poster. It's one of my favorite movie posters. So
One of
yeah.
the other posters is me actually kissing his girlfriend. It's a big, huge shot of me kissing his girlfriend. It's funny.
I bet Abe will like
I gave it
that.
to him. I gave it to him as a present. I
That's
had it framed
funny.
and gave it to him as a present. Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go. There you
He's not with
go.
her. He's not with her anymore. She was a sweetheart. She did have a
Yeah.
cold that morning when we had that scene. She had a cold, but we had to do it. So
Did you get a cold from it?
no, I didn't. I
Oh,
didn't.
you were lucky. You were immune.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
What's it like
yeah,
in New York right now?
very pleasant today. It's a little humid, but it's in the 70s. It's not bad. I'm going to go out for a bike ride in about an hour.
Bike ride? You
So,
still do that?
oh my
Nice.
God, yeah. Oh yeah. I have to get out on my bike. I love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Well, you know what? I admire that, like I like to try to get out and go for a walk every now and again, and
You
stretch
have
my
to.
legs. It's nice, but I do a lot of running around the hospital, and doing that. But I'm glad you were patient with me about that,
No,
and
no worries, Greg. I'm glad. Like I said, Fridays it's an afternoon that's usually free for me, so no worries.
yeah. Well, this was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Stephen, for allowing me
My
this honor.
pleasure.
You
My
have no
pleasure.
idea what it meant to me to have you come on here today,
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. I enjoyed it too, Greg. I really did, and I will send you that picture with my autograph on it.
Yep. Before I let you go, would you mind doing a plug for my show?
How?
Just
Yeah, sure. How would I do that?
just state your name and say
Okay.
you were Rich Volk and Miss 45,
Okay.
and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Right now.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I am on Greg Gilbert's Python. What is it again?
Python's Paradise.
Python. Oh, how could I forget that? Python's Paradise. And I played Rick Volk. Rick Volt in that's VOLK in Ms. 45, directed by Abel Ferrara. And my name is not Steven Singer in the credits. It's S. Edward Singer, but I got my, it's a long, were we on the air when I told you about my,
No, you can share that now.
yeah. Well, when I joined Equity, I had to change my name because somebody else had the name Steven Singer. And so I changed it to S. Edward Singer. I don't know why. People call me Sedward. So I kept calling Equity saying, I really want my name back. And they got tired of me calling. So they said, here's the other Steve Singer that has your name. Call him. So I called the other Steve Singer and he said, sure, take my name. I don't need it. I'm a drummer. I had to get my Equity card because I played on stage in a Broadway musical. So he gave me my name and I got my name back. But for some reason, I don't know why I put it on. I still had my name when we did Abel's film, Miss 45, and I probably could have used my real name.
Mhm.
But anyway, because of that on IMDb, they called me uncredited. Is that what it says?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I played Rich Folk in Ms. 45.
There you go. And we appreciate you for it. And you were awesome in the movie.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much. I appreciate that.
Well, you enjoy your lovely Friday. Enjoy your bike ride. Stay healthy. Stay safe.
You too.
And don't invite strange girls up your loft to do photographs because it didn't work out well the first time.
I think I learned my lesson. I still have the scars to prove it.
Did that hurt when they went off, those
No,
bumpers?
you just feel a little pinch. You feel
Okay.
the pinch, so you feel the pinch and you'll know to move. It was just a pinch. It was just emotionally, it's because you're as an actor, you're getting shot, and
Yeah.
it was emotional. And like I said, we had to do coverage, so I had to do it twice. So, but it turned out great. It really turned out great. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Stephen, I bid you a wonderful day. It was
You
so
too.
awesome. Like I said,
Oh,
thank you
cool.
so much. God bless you, and enjoy your bike ride.
Thank you. I will. And I hope they don't have to call you in today.
You know what? I think I'm good today, but I do work tomorrow. So
Okay.
there you go.
You have a great weekend.
Take care, man. Thank you so
You too.
much.
Okay, my pleasure.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.